Okay, folks, of course, it is 9 o'clock Sunday night UK time. It can mean only one thing. It is time for the taps. I require 10 taps off you. 4 for the hell, 1 for the space, 4 for the yeah. Want to put a smile on my face. Here it comes, oh yeah. Do we get cake, Mark's asking. I've had cake. And I literally can't start the show without it. Did you hear me announce it and just run?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
Really just run straight in?
Mm-hmm. Casey says hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Disappear. You literally can't have a show without a kid derailing it. And she has been derailing it all day. Yeah? Well, she hasn't. She's been brilliant today. Today has been a great one. I've been up at Partisan. Now, first off, before we get into Partisan, thank you for all the birthday wishes. There's links down below and all that sort of palaver and that sort of stuff. I just want to giggle tonight. Yeah, so you have already put a smile on my face and I've had a brilliant day. Yeah, I have been to Partisan with the girl. Let me quick sip. Now, you may be wondering, this isn't Bucks Fizz, this is just orange juice. Okay, and if you're wondering about the glass, it's because I have the girl staying with me, and as anyone who knows who has like a 14-year-old girl in their house, every single glass is used and on a shelf or a side. I see everyone's in tonight. Hello, everyone. I thought it was a screwdriver. No. Drinking and live streaming does not mix. It really does not mix. We've done it on other times. Tim saying, I've seen you at Partisan on other people's pictures. Oh. You see, this is one of the things. Do you know what I mean? Now I'm actually out going to shows and stuff like that. I'll start appearing in other people's pictures again. And I'm sure, yeah, because it's been a hot and sweaty day, there's probably one of me scratching my backside at some point. Paul saying, even glasses you didn't know you had. You wouldn't believe where I had to dig this one out from, Paul. But George is saying, then we could have a spontaneous gopher dance. We haven't done a gopher dance in ages. I don't even know if my hips could take it. Yeah. Evening, Craig. Hey, Sam. So yeah, today has been a very good day. Like I say, hit Partisan. Yeah, now if you don't know what Partisan is it's the premier historical wargaming show for the UK. Pardon me. And basically it's greenfields as far as the eye can see. As far as the eye can see. Yeah, but some lovely tables. Had a great day out. Bumped into loads of people. Now, Operation Get Me Into the Design Studio is on hold because I bumped into some of my inside contacts and they've all made it clear I haven't got bob hope of getting anywhere near a design studio at Games Workshop. Ain't gonna happen. Not gonna happen. So let's just forget that as an idea. But it has been suggested I might have luck with getting into Warhammer World's design studio where they do the tables and stuff like that. Okay, I can take that. Operation Warhammer World. Warhammer World of Wonder. We'll figure it. But we know where we stand on that count. Right. Apparently, there's nothing worth looking at in the design studios because it's all digital, so it's just computers. I think they're trying to put me off. I could take spy glasses, sit on a big hill. Apparently, that's been done before as well. Yeah, but I actually do like the idea of seeing if I can get myself in Warhammer World, even if I can't get into the design studio or behind the scenes. I'd like to be able to film the tables you know, and I'd like to be able to show some of the exhibition off because they're inspirational, you know what I mean? So, we'll see how we go. I'll hang round, you know. I could sneak for... You see, the problem is, I already know, yeah, I've been told, yeah, that people watch my videos in the design studio while they're... I've got to be able to get, like, at least on the outside. That's morally wrong. That's... I mean, especially for me, because, you know, it was... Although I got into terrain making before I got into wargaming, Warhammer was, and Games Workshop was my introduction to wargaming. So, not only to know that, actually, I'm mates with quite a few of the heads of various design studios and stuff like that. But I know they're watching me. Yeah, my videos are playing in rooms I will never be able to enter. So it's just become a thing now. Now, you see, the thing is, I have a contract with Games Workshop because I'm part of the GW community stuff, but I never really got rolling with it because I started it. So they sort of invited me on just before the pandemic, and then everything just went, you know, and I've never really sort of run with it. So they could technically sue me if I go in. They've got my contract details, and I've literally agreed to a legal contract that I won't show things that I shouldn't. So I can't even bandit run and ask for forgiveness afterwards. It's got to be official. So, there's my birthday wish. Right. Okay, so, anyway, caught up with a load of people. Yeah, it was really good to catch up with people, meet new people. Loads of people off the channel came up and sort of shook my hand and that sort of stuff. And, you know, it was nice to find out that, yeah, you're from the group I've actually replied to and not during the big period of ignorance and all that sort of stuff. So it was a really, really good day, people-wise. And I've got to say, it was packed. Yeah. I think a little bit of me sort of, because Partisan, yeah, it goes on in the same venue as Hammerhead does. Yeah, and I went to Hammerhead a couple of months ago, so I'd sort of got an idea of, right, this is... Because I remember turning up at Hammerhead and a few of us sort of commented on, it's a little bit quiet, you know, post-pandemic and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. I went to we got there at midday at Partisan to the same venue, okay, and I got in at midday and it was heaving. I mean, like, I'm not going to be able to film in here heaving, like looking around and like, I'm not going to be able to get round these tables. Yeah. And apparently it had got a lot quieter, yeah, since and a lot of people were saying with Salute being cancelled, a lot of people are treating this as their big spend day. And it was good. I saw quite a few terrain sellers who pretty much cleared their shelves and stuff by the end of the day. That was really good to see. Yeah, so it was a heaving event. Yeah, and I think a little bit of me was a bit... I think with it being historical, for some reason I thought it would have a less of a turnout, a less of a following. But, you know, I was delightfully proved wrong because it was packed. Right. People are talking printing. I see Knots chatting. I think it's because I'm rambling. No one's talking to me. Thank you, Eric. Not to saying Warhammer World and the museum design team. Yes, I can see them letting you in there. Yeah, I can. Thing is, apparently with the design studios, they've got it that locked down that, you know, you can't even just wander between, you know, it's like certain staff belong in certain studios, you know, so you can understand it. You know, this is a company that trades on the stock market, you know, so, and they handle sensitive IPs like Lord of the Rings, so you can understand that. But Warhammer World and the museum, yeah, I see that, yeah. I see it. That's a mission. That's a mission. Not saying he's missed Partisan. Where were you, mate? Right. Now, I did get some goodies from Partisan, so let's go through my haul. Now, at the minute, this is a terrain question and answer show, guys. I've got 3 questions in so far. If you've got any questions about the show, UK shows in general, or anything like that, links down below to the Google Doc. All you need to do is click on the link, go to the Google Doc. You don't need to be logged in, just enter your screen name and your question, and we'll jump on that once I've shown you my haul. Right, and Tam's throwing the link up in the comments. Thank you, folks. Thank you, Tam. I see people asking questions in the comments. Don't distract me like that. Let's put them in the Google Doc. It's important because in the future, I want to sort of like see if I can make clips out of this, you know, and make it a little bit more useful. But in the meantime, if you've got a question, get it in the Google Doc. Right. Right, where shall we start? Right, my first purchase. Now, there was only one thing at Partisan that I was looking to specifically get. Okay? And that was vehicle markings, which is these. Okay? Now, these are Allied stars and British, British vehicle markings. Now, the reason for this is it's all tied into bolt action. Ever since I've been getting back into bolt action. I've been having a blast with it, and it's also encouraged me to actually start painting. Yeah, or painting again. Now, I painted up all my infantry, but I hadn't done any of my vehicles. And so, a couple of nights ago, I got the brush out, I got started painting, and I painted up my howitzer. Yeah, or I should say, I started painting it. But as you can see, it's got decals at the front. Yeah, and then on top of that, I up insane, I also painted up my little Daimler armoured car. Yeah, and as you can see, that's got the transfers on as well. Come on, you're going to focus, you're not, are you? Of course you're not. You'll focus on something in the background instead. But I got these, but I needed some unit markings, and the ones that came with the transfers on the sheet didn't really fit. Yeah, I still don't know where I'm going to actually put the unit markings. Might put them there instead of on the turret. Put another star there. But so my only purchase that I planned to purchase, yeah, were these. Now these are from a company called Skytrex. Yeah, literally Skytrex, and they got a load of really interesting scatter terrain. They're a railway manufacturer. Yeah, but their scale suits. And they've got loads of interesting, like, gribbly bits, like barrels and crates and things like that. And so, well worth checking out, folks. Now, on top of that, with me refreshing my painting skills, I've been using... Is it there? No. I've been using one of my little plates as a palette. And so I thought, you know what? I'm only been doing this for so long, you know. So it's about time I got myself a wet palette. Okay? So I saw this and it was just like, right, it was the first wet palette I saw there and I thought, you know what? I'm having this. And it's an AK one. Yeah, so checking it out. Let's have a look. Ooh. Vacuum bond, optional special silicone sealer. Oh, so I think it comes with something that you put round the rim to make it airtight. Techno breakdown. Right, let's give this one a wrap. Okay, so paper sheets, 2 packs, paper and wipe. Okay, There's instructions. That's not good. I'm going to need my special focusing. That's small writing. Soak the sponge, soak the sheet, put the wipe on, put the paper on. Okay, I can figure that. Yeah, and then the box itself. That's quite nifty. Quite a few clips on that. I can see why this would be airtight. There's like 2 clips on every side. And I don't even think it's got hinges. No, it's just a straight lid. Yeah, plastic tub. That's a chunky sponge. 2 sponges. Anything under there? No. So, 2 sponges, my wipes, my paper. Alright, I'm happy with that. Right. Obviously, we're not going to test this out right now. You do get quite a bit with it. I'll give them that. That's quite a lot, wasn't it? I was expecting this, the tub, yeah, and the sponge in it, but I wasn't expecting the paper and the wipes. Now, I'll have a play with this, and I'll tell you how it goes on in a future, in a future show. But yeah, I like that. I wonder if, that's got a little recessed rim around the edge, so I bet you that sort of silicone sealer, yeah, is a bit of silicone cord that'll go all the way round, if you know what I mean. So, like that. Now, I did pick up some more gribblies. That's a lot clippity clip in it. Well, that's not going anywhere, that's for sure. Right, on top of that, I specifically made a sort of beeline for a company called Irongate Scenery that I'd seen around before, and they do some quite nice stuff. Now, little independent sort of seller, and I just picked up a couple of little things, yeah, which I thought were really quite nice. So, we've got the Market Accessories Bakery, yeah, and what you've got is bread baskets and stuff like that. So you've got baskets full of bread and their plates full of bread, yeah, and a crate full of loaves, yeah. So, got those, and then I also got these, yeah, and these are fruit and veg. So they're basically trays of fruit and veg, all different sorts that I can paint up. Now, when I posted these on Facebook, yeah, everyone was going, "Oh, are you doing something medieval, Mel?" Because of something else I also picked up. No, yeah, they're for the Burma board. I wanted some eye candy, and I spotted them, and I thought, yes, they'll do. So, no, not getting on medieval Let's Makes just yet. Let's check the comments. Thank you, Bad Rabbit. Should have said you wanted to do an online review. Might have got it you for free. No, listen, I mean, I don't mind paying for things at War Games shows. You know, I do get offered a lot of stuff, to be perfectly honest, and you know, a lot of it I turn down because there's more effort in it than is actual interest on the channel. When I go to a show, I don't generally say, "Oh, you know, I'm the terrain shooter, can I have that?" And I'll do a video on you. I just, you know, get it. Quite often, you know, the shows are a lot of independent retailers, or a lot of sort of, they're either independent retailers, so that they're someone who carries a lot of different stock from a few different people, or they're an independent manufacturer, which means they're a small manufacturer, and you know, that's the only place other than online that you'll get their stuff. So when I go to shows, you know, I do actually like to go, yeah, pays me money, gets me stuff. Yeah. Now, moving on. This was one of, should People are saying about the sound levels. I was probably turning away from the mic. Don't worry about the sound. Let me know if it goes off. Right. On top of that, Willow. Willow spotted these from War Bases. Yeah. Yes. They are chickens.
Are you talking about chickens?
Oh, God. No.
They honey chickens.
Yes, they're chickens.
I'm doing the dish.
Well, go do the dishes then. Your chickens aren't going anywhere.
That one's the leader chicken.
That's the cockerel, isn't it?
I don't know, it's just the one standing guard.
It is actually a cockerel. So yes, Willow got chickens. Willow's going to forget about making an army. She will, trust me. Yeah, and these will somehow find their way onto the Burma build. When she realises I've put them on the Burma build, I'm dead. I'll never hear the end of it. All hail the Willow. Don't encourage her insane. Cheers, Walkabout. Now, on top of that, yeah, this is one I didn't buy. This got thrust into my hand as I was going past the table. Yeah, Baron's War. I think the Fat Cats were demoing a game of it. Yeah, and I've got to say, it's quite a nice. Now, this is a skirmish game by, by Andy Hobday. Yeah. Is it Footsore? Footsore Miniatures and Warhost Online. I've got to say, it is nice. Yeah, it's a very nice looking rule book. I mean, sometimes you pick rule books up and they're ugly as hell. You know what I mean? And you're like, clunk, clunk, clunk. And you're like, yeah, it's going to be one of those rule books where I've got to keep a finger in like 5 different places. Yeah, but this is actually quite nice. Nice quick reference chart. Yeah. Rules don't seem that complicated. In fact, it appears that... Is that all the rules? No. Building your retinue. Morale. Yeah, here we go. That's the rules. And that's army lists, historical characters, scenarios. Yeah, that's not too hard to learn, actually. When they first handed it to me, I was like, hey up, I'm not ready to take on another Warhammer 40k yet. But that's not too bad. Might have a proper nose at that. Now, and then finally, one final purchase. And you'll have noticed that, with getting back into gaming, the theme of my purchases have been slightly slanted towards the painting side of things more than the terrain side of things. There's no difference with this. I also picked this up from War Bases. Yeah. I have a ridiculous amount of model paints. I mean, the amount of army paints I've got is ridiculous. Plus, I've got full ranges of other paints that have been sent to me and stuff like that. And for the love of... For ages, I've been meaning to get like one of the painting stations and paint racks. I haven't been cheeky enough to actually throw it up onto the Facebook page and go, hey, does anyone want me to review theirs? And so, I've gone without. Yeah, and I spotted this. And it says suitable for... It better be alright. It'll be alright. It'll be fine. Trust me. It'll be fine. We'll give it a go. I may have picked up the wrong one. I can always use it in the studio, I suppose. We'll find out what it's like, but basically, nice little painting rack from War Bases. So, War Basics. Oh no, War Bases, War Basics series. That's going to get confusing. Just as well I'm not doing a product review. I bought it. I can say what I want. I may have bought the wrong thing, but that doesn't matter. That's a minor detail. Minor detail. Right, let's have a look at these questions. Okay, we've got 10 so far, so that looks good. Looks like we've got some chatting to do. Paul saying, funny enough, I was talking to Warlord about paint racks last week. Molly's getting a rack. It's the only rack I'm going to get. Mel, have you ever done a mashup of like a Tamiya Challenger tank with Warhammer Orc details on it? I can't say I have, to be perfectly honest. Patagonian attack chickens in some of her books. Jodie Taylor? Who's Jodie Taylor? What does she write, Mark? Walkabout's talking about the new Kickstarter Crusade. Yeah, for Baron's War. Nice, Tam. Really nice. Thank you. Tam's saying, so Mel went to Partisan and picked up a bunch of chicks and found himself a nice rack. Nice. Here. Give yourself a star, Tam. Right. Let's do this. Okay, we have questions to answer. Right, remember guys, if you're liking the show, there are links down below. Okay. Individuals, let's do them that way. From Musa, USA. Happy belated birthday, Mel. Thank you, buddy. I hope you didn't forget my email. I have another one for you. Right, this is the guy. That was a really complicated one. Yeah, basically, how do I represent Northern Europe? That's why I left it as the live show, and I still don't know how to answer that one. But you got a question here. How would you build a Sahara sand dune in 1/300th, 1/35th scale? About 6 inches tall. Thank you for your expertise. Right, Mike. If you're going to be building sand dunes, then you're going to be wanting HDF foam, and you're going to be wanting to sand it down and shape it. Yeah. You can have them quite steep. Okay. Now, the reason why you want to use HD foam is because once you've got your basic shape of your, of your foam, get a paintbrush. Okay. And you can use the rounded edge. And at that point, you can start very carefully doing your waves. Okay? And sculpting your waves into the foam and getting that sort of wavy pattern that you get on a sand dune. Don't bother trying to replicate the sand texture. It's too small of a texture for you to realistically be able to pull off. So don't bother with that. The foam itself will have enough texture on it. Just shape the foam in your general dune shapes. Yeah, hot wire cutter. Get your sandpaper in there to give it a bit of curves and get the undulations. And then in with the end of like a paintbrush to do your actual sand waves. Yeah, your rippling effect. After that, just give it a paint of a light ochre. Yeah, which is sort of an earthy yellow. And then a bit of a dry brush of just line it up with a bit of cream into that mix and dry brush it up, and that should do you, mate. Are you lot still talking about chicks and racks? Can't take you anywhere, can I? CJ saying grout does for texture that fine. Yeah, that'll work. Filler wash would work as well if you really want a texture. Yeah, but at that sort of scale with sand, you don't really need it. Right, moving on. Hope that answer helped you, buddy. Right, Bat's asking, terrain question. In a jungle on, say, your Burma build, for example, vines and creepers in the... how would you create vines and creepers in the trees? Now, you see, I'm actually facing this myself because it's something I want to do. Yeah? Now, For the sort of vines and creepers, what I'm thinking is to get polyfiber, which is teddy bear stuffing, pillow stuffing. Soak it, comb it out to get it into strands, yeah, and while it's soaked in sort of a mixture of greenhouse paint with a bit of PVA in it, and while it's soaked, really hard brush it and scrape it, and then lay it over some greaseproof paper, yeah. The idea being that I can get individual thick strands with bits coming off. Once that's dried, cut them, and then simply use a little bit of PVA, wet it a little to shape it, but the dryness should stop it going all on the other bits, should stop it going all over the place. Hang those. For creepers and vines and stuff like that, it depends how you want to do the leaf foliage. You know, on whether you're going to attach little leaves to it or some sort of leaf foliage. Silver birch seeds you can do. They're for ivy. There's a lot of options on that way. But what you can also do is use like a gel super glue. Yeah. And then just press them in. And that fixes them quite well. So there's a couple of ways I'm thinking of playing with it. Garden or butcher's twine unravelled with paint and PVA for vines and creepers. Yeah, I can see that. I think I might have to nick that one as well. In fact, I might nick that one. Thank you, Vorpal. So yeah, there's 3 ways for you, buddy. Right, moving on. Okay. Eric's asking, if you were making a Troy-esque gate and wall in 15mm that would stretch across the table, say 2 foot or so, what would you recommend to start off with and how would you do it? Okay, so we're looking at a 2 foot terrain piece, yeah, in 15mm. So a gate, if you're looking at a gate like that, then in 15mm, what you're looking at a good few inches for the height of the gate and the battlements and that sort of stuff. I would recommend, yeah, that what you do is you build the core structure out of foam board. Okay? Just bear with me one moment, please, folks. Sorry about that, folks. So, as I was saying, what I'd recommend is start off with a foam board build and get your basic shape on that. And then to get that sort of, that texture they have, use Daz. Yeah? Get Daz, roll it out nice and thin, wet it, put it on the sides, yeah? Trim it a little bit and use that to actually cover your actual foam board build. Because the reason to use Daz is once it's dried, you can just come along with a sharp implement and scratch bits into it, scratch cracks. Yeah. Also, it won't be a completely flat texture. So it'll be sort of, to reuse the word too many times, undulating. Nice one, Dave B. Right. So I think that, yeah, Eric, that's how I'd approach that. Okay? Quite simple. Do your core out of foam board and then just plaster it with thin layers of Daz. Do it in sections. And don't go crazy. Remember, don't worry about, doing underhangs and stuff like that. Just approach it methodically. If you're building like a 2 foot piece, then you can work at one side and then work at the other while that's drying, and so you can't mess it. Remember, Daz is great because you can also just wet your fingers, smooth it over, blend any joins. Right, moving on. Okay, Matthew's asking, do you have any advice for breaking up large areas of snow when rocks and shrubs aren't appropriate? I would break up large areas of snow with patches of no snow. Okay, I personally, I would make it patchy and leave like the ground showing, whether it's frosted grass or whether it's, dark, muddy ground from where it's been stained with a bit of frost on it. The reason being is if you have too much of a white surface or too much snow, you get like a snow blindness effect. Okay, I mean, especially with quite bright lights, you can't actually see what you're working on. And so, or what you're actually playing on, and it can actually give you eye strain. And so if you've got large areas of snow, you don't need to break it up with bushes and rocks and to sort of break it up. Just break it up by not having areas of snow. Yeah, and it works quite well, and it's a lot easier on the eye, to be perfectly honest. Right. Pardon me. That's question 4 of 10. I think we're doing all right tonight. Although my throat, I have been doing a lot of talking. I've been filming all day. Managed to get about 40 minutes worth of footage, of good footage. So, Tuesday's video should be a good one. Right. This one says, this is from Happy Birthday. Have you checked PayPal? No, I haven't. I haven't seen a ding, so that's a hint and a half, isn't it? Yeah, I do see someone has sent me a PayPal. Oh, a few people have. Right, okay. I'm just having a good time, folks. Thank you. Right, okay. We've got a few people shout out. Right. Big shout out to Simon. You probably need some of these pounds to keep the lights on while playing Baron's War. Thank you, buddy. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Mike from The Question. Thank you for your help. Cheers, Mike. No worries, buddy. And Rusted. Happy birthday, Mel. Thank you, buddy. Thanks, guys. It is appreciated. Right, I will check it again in a little while. Yeah. Brill. Thanks, guys. So you put a smile on my face. Ain't making me cry. I remember those days, but nah. Right. Well, that was an easy terrain question. Quite a pleasant one as well. Moving on. Okay, from George. Where did you source your plastic plants for BBB from? I'm going to be doing some scatter terrain for my nephew and need some jungle motif. Right. There were a couple of sources. I did specifically pick up some wargaming ones from a couple of shows. Yeah, and they were like the GW ones that are on the sprue. Okay? But the majority of the plastic plants that are... Pardon me. The majority of the plastic plants that are on the Big Burma build are actually from those big hanging balls. Yeah? I've got 2 of them in the studio. Different styles, different shades, but they're actually a frame with lots of individual sort of plants on, like leaves. So I basically pluck them off, and that's where the bulk of the actual plastic plants on the on the Burma builder from. And the reason I went that way was because it's a lot cheaper than buying specific wargaming ones. You know, you can buy one of those hanging balls for about £5. Yeah, I think I saw one that was perfect, and it wasn't a hanging ball. It was like a small standing wall with the perfect leaves. And this guy was carrying it, and I watched him. Yeah, and it was a municipal tip, the council tip, and he was throwing it in the skip, and you can't get them out once they're in. And I was like, why, no, missed it. But yeah, most of them are from the hanging balls. No worry, Math. Did you know that studies have shown that people who have more birthdays will actually live longer? Stunning and brave, mate. Stunning and brave. Tam's saying also worth looking on eBay for plastic plants. Look for aquarium plants. Most definitely. Yeah, Gomi. Generally, when I go to like shops, the actual aquarium selection in the shops is quite poor. But online, you can find some brilliant ones. And I know there's a massive delay at the minute, but Wish is brilliant for stuff like that. Right. Bob's asking, excuse my ignorance, but have you ever done any smaller scale stuff? 6 mil or less? No, I haven't. Well, I have, but I haven't while I've been the terrain shooter. And I keep meaning on doing it. And we should at some point. I see it Adapters Titanicus is back out. And I like the style of that. And, you know, the challenge with that was always the buildings and that sort of stuff. But I've got a 3D printer now. So I could do quite a nice table. You know what I mean? It could turn out really quite nice. Right. Moving on. Question 8 of 10. Running out here. Hi Mel, no name, just a question. Hi Mel, I have a question about scales. 1/35 scale for armour, 1/30 tooth for aircraft. Why? Okay. Oh, this is messy. How do I do this? Right. Okay, first off, the 1/35, the 1/30 tooth, yeah, these are all revolved around metric and imperial measurements, okay? And if you want to hear something bizarre, yeah, did you know that in the army we have something that's called NATO scale for our maps, okay? There's a set scale for maps for all countries in NATO. Which makes sense, doesn't it? You know what I mean? Yeah, all our maps are the same scale, so if we lay them down next to each other, or if you look at one, if you're used to saying, well, that's 10 miles on that map, well, if I open this Polish map, yeah, well, that's 10 miles on that map, which makes very much sense. Except, yeah, the scales aren't the same. There's 2 NATO scales, yeah? There's US NATO scale and there's European NATO scale. US NATO scale is 1/300th. Yeah, so 1 to 300. European NATO scale is 1 to 285. Okay, and it's purely imperial and and metric measurements. And so the reason why when you get to these sort of scales is because there was no standardization of what scale things should be. You know, people just knew, oh, well, people are really interested in model planes that are about this big. Yeah. So, you know, British manufacturers, European manufacturers, American manufacturers, they sort of got the, we want it about 4 inches. Yeah, we want it about 16 centimetres. Do you know what I mean? And they converted their scales that way because the rulers in their offices worked that way. And because there was no sort of standardization of scales when it started, we ended up with this plethora of scales, of all different scales that, you know, And then on top of that, you've got model creep and scale creep where, you know, they say it's this scale, but it's actually closer to this scale. Or you get some homebrew manufacturer who doesn't realise that, you know, models shrink a little bit when you cast them in metal. And so you get varying heights. And I've seen great pictures out there of a row of models that were all 28mm. Yeah, it was like a wave on their heads. Yeah, because they're all different scales. So the scales is a bit weird, but it's basically, it goes back to when the manufacturers first started making kits in the various different sizes, and how they converted it and the ease of conversion and what measuring metric they use, whether they're metric or they're imperial. Mel, the same could be said for 28mm Warlord figures and 28mm Games Workshop figures. Yeah, I mean, Games Workshop, you know, they had heroic 28. And I think for everyone, the real sort of wake-up of how Games Workshop models weren't truly accurate 28 figure models was when they did the Lord of the Rings, yeah, range, and they had to be for the IP. Yeah, and it was like, right, this is 28, and then all of a sudden it was like, right, let's just give them beggar bases. Yeah, heroic 28. Heroic. Vorpal says, I need a microscope to see 28mm figures. I must admit, you know those glasses I got? Yeah, that I got on the wish list and everything. Got to say, guys, whoever got them, me, thank you. There's no way I could have done the decal work on that, yeah, without them. No way. Not a chance. Yeah, so I really like those glasses. Edgar saying Heroic 28 existed before GW was founded. HeroClix did it, didn't they? Escar, most of the early GW Lord of the Ring was sculpted by the Perry brothers, who like to sculpt closer to true scale than the heavy hero scale GW usually use. Right, moving on question wise. Oh, that's a good one. Eric's asking, right, I know you've done a few videos in the past about basing buildings, but what about a village? If you're thinking about making a European village for a horse and musket gaming, how many buildings and how would you go about designing it to make it a cool terrain piece that's playable? Feel free to answer whichever question you want, Mel. Just putting ideas in your head. Well, there's a few there. There's quite a few there. Right, I think what you call it. First off, it doesn't say what scale, but with a horse and musket gaming, I'm going to assume we're talking 28. Okay? Maybe 15. Because, I mean, they want it playable. Anything lower than 15, villages aren't really considered playable. You know, if you're playing lower than 15, you know, that's big, grand open warfare. So, let's go for 15 to 28 mil. Think of it, yeah. Imagine you're trying to draw your village, yeah, in sand for your kids to play with toy cars on. So what I mean is, road, junction there, building here, building here, building here, building here, you know, park here, church here. Real simple. That will give you an overall design. Then look at the roads, figure out how you're going to make those as a separate element. Then look at each sort of chunk, not building, but chunk. And look at how you can make that as a terrain piece. Yeah, standalone terrain piece. Yeah, so let's say the church with the graveyard. Yeah, I can put that together. That can be one piece. Then let's say you've got a few cottages. Okay, we can put those all in a row and give them sort of like backyard allotments sort of thing. Yeah, make that a single piece. Okay, double that up so you've got another side of the path. Make perhaps a farmhouse, outbuildings. And then with having those tiles, well, what you can do is you can have quite a featured village, but when you put it down, it's just about spacing things out to let units move around them, if you know what I mean, and still make it playable. Yeah, so when you're building your church, yeah, the churchyard, all you got to do is be aware of, right, what models may need to stand in here and what space do I need to leave. Do I want my gravestones being laid flat, for instance, if I want to put a regiment in there? Or is it a skirmish game? Can I get away with having the gravestones standing up? Yeah. Same with the allotments. Can I have standing vines? Yeah. Or do all my plant rows have to be flat and level for a larger base to go in? Once you know what bases and what models need to move into the village, you can tailor your terrain around like that. Now, the other good thing about making the plates, with a couple of features on, rather than individual ones, is you've not got the tailing off lips on each individual one, then a bit of space. Yeah? So you've got a lot more room to be featured and a lot more room to leave for playable space without having models sort of like half-cocked, sort of standing on one base or another. Yeah. Secondly, they're nice features that you can then drop in individually elsewhere. But that's how I'd approach that. I'd make, if you want to build a village, build the elements of the village rather than the individual buildings. And that just gives you more room to actually make it a lot more detailed and a lot more featured. But at the same time, it allows you to sort of look in and, knowing what models you need to put in there, know how you need to shape it. There we go. Right, I'm running out of juice here. And my throat is getting sorer and sorer. Paul saying he'd never heard of 10mm before. People all talk, Blood and Plunder is 28mm. Some manufacturers that choose weird scale, like Warlords 12mm. Yeah, and manufacturers can often choose weird scales just so it's like, right, you can only play this game with our models. Or it might be, we just want to do it in that scale. It's the way these things go. Right, moving on. Bob's asking, have you any thoughts on furniture for 10mm? Will N-gauge work? I would imagine. I'd have to check. Let's check TMP scales. N-gauge. N. What did he say? What scale was it? 10mm? 2, 6, 10mm. Yeah, N scale will do absolutely fine for 10mm. I mean, 10mm is 1 to 161. Yeah, N scale is 1 to 160. So yeah, just go with N scale, mate. That was an easy question. If you don't know, if you ever have any scale related questions, just type into Google TMP scales. The miniature pages is a forum, but they've got this wonderful summary of scales, and it's got all the different scales sort of compared, so you can just quickly drill down and go, right, what's that in mils, what's that as a fraction, what's that as what's got a railway scale. So TMP scales. Yeah, brilliant page. Right, a last question because my throat is killing me. Model stuff. Since I've done the airport, I still have 3 modules left. What would you suggest as another playable surface? I was thinking black brown so it would look like mud or forest floor. Got any ideas? Right. I have no idea what this question is talking about. What would you... Since I've done the airport, I still have 3 modules left. Okay. What would you suggest as another playable surface? I was thinking black-brown. So, would look like mud or a forest floor. Any ideas? Without knowing what you're trying to achieve, I have no idea, mate. So, that's actually quite fitting as the last question. Because it leaves me with my usual puzzled look that I have. Can't help you. Can't help you on that one, buddy. Right, call it on that one. Well, I've got to say, folks, it's been a cracking show, but there's no way we can leave it like that with that many likes. Yeah, so, you know the drill, guys. If you've liked the show, the link is down below. Yeah, come on, get those likes up. I'll do a quick check on PayPal, make sure we're not missing anyone. I don't think we are. But I don't want to miss anyone. Oh, we may be missing. Yeah, everyone's cheering happy birthday. Come on, we're on 80 likes. We need another 20 likes to hit 100 before we end the show. Come on, you got time. PayPal's been a... From Ginge, happy birthday. Thank you, buddy. From James, happy birthday. Thank you, buddy. Right, folks, we're pretty damn close. Right, I need 10 taps from you. You know what the drill is. 10 taps. 4 for the hell, 1 for the space, 4 for the air. 1 to put a smile on my face. If you've had a good show, crack on, guys. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Tuesday video, I'm going to be editing big time tomorrow. Yeah, because Tuesday's video is coming up and it will be the Tables of Terrain Partisan 2022. All the best, yeah? Ta-ra.